Finally, we end with the first Street Fighter. Now, Street Fighter is one of the most, if not the most well-known fighting game franchise in the world, but I doubt many watching have played the original. Like most people my age, my first Street Fighter was one of the 13 million versions of Street Fighter 2, which we'll maybe get to another day. I'm playing this on the Capcom Classics Collection Volume 2, which I bought back in 2010 for the sole reason of trying out this game and Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. There isn't much story. You play as Ryu, or Ken Masters if you're player 2, who is competing in an international martial arts tournament hosted by Sagat, the Emperor of Muay Thai. So the gameplay. If you have played Street Fighter 2, just think of how that plays. Now imagine it being shit. You have your light, medium and heavy punches and kicks, jumps, crouching, holding back to block, and your special moves. You have 3 special moves, all 3 will be familiar if you've played any other Street Fighter game. Of course, being a Street Fighter, they're done with the usual quarter circle forward punch, quarter circle back kick stuff. Being Ryu, you had the Hadouken, the Shoryuken, and the Tatsumaki Senpu Kyak. Playing this game, you'll notice 2 things about the special moves. The first is they only happen if the game decides it's in the mood for it. You could do the exact same motion many times and the move will only happen about half of those. The second is that they are ludicrously overpowered and tear off huge chunks of your opponent's life. In fact, if every hit of the Tatsumaki Senpu Kyak connects, it'll take out the entire life bar in a couple seconds. And you need these special moves, because your basic punches and kicks are pathetic. And that's if they even connect, which half the time your jump attacks won't. Your only hope of them is to get lucky stun locking them to death with your light punch, but even that's very rare. Of course the computer doesn't have these limitations, their normal attacks do decent damage and they have no trouble pulling 5 special moves in a row right out of their asses. You're basically waiting for the game to just sit there and let you win. One of the most important parts of the fighting game is its cast. If no one cares about your characters, they're probably not going to play the game very long. This game has 12 characters. Thing is, you can only play as Ryu or Ken who are just head swaps of each other. This era of fighting games where the majority of the cast can't be played has lasted a lot longer than you might think, and I hate it. The other 10 are already programmed like playable characters, just let us use them. But enough about the gameplay, what actually happened? Well, the first 4 opponents I had I defeated with no issue. We started with a choice of 4 countries: Japan, the USA, England and China. Each country has 2 opponents. I start with Japan and get assaulted by this atrocious noise. First is Retsu. Retsu is a monk banished from his temple for using forbidden techniques. He's also a friend of Ryu and Ken's master Goken. That's all there really is to say about him.
Alright! Listeners, the Don't Forget Ceremony goes all over the world.
Next is Geki. Geki is a ninja. That's all we know about him other than that his name is a title and that at some point after this game he died and there's a new ninja called Geki. He fights with a claw and is one of few opponents with a projectile. This shuriken move can make him quite a bastard to fight, but I got lucky this time and demolished him. He's also one of 2 characters in the game who got slightly decent music. After every couple of fights you'll get one of 2 bonus stages. First is the brick breaking stage where you have to time your button press to strike with enough strength. No, Ryu, you don't get to act so self-satisfied after that. The first character we fight from the USA is Joe. He was an undefeated kickboxing champion but now he's an outlaw thanks to some financial trouble and violent outbursts. He's probably the most generic character in the entire series, just some shirtless guy. He has a special move where he does a jump kick and shouts power. That's about it. He has the best character theme in the game though, and it still isn't that good. Next up is Mike, a boxer with 2 backstories because the original didn't make sense. Originally he was banned from boxing for accidentally killing his opponent. Thing is, you can't be banned for that if it was an accident, so today his story is that he spent some time in prison for robbery. Now he fights to raise money for the poor and also teaches kids how to box. He's also very generic, just being a guy in a shirt and jeans who punches hard. The second type of bonus stage is the board breaking stage, where you just have to know the right attack to hit the boards in time. I didn't beat it. The first fight in China is against Lee. Lee has barely any story. After this game he started running a real estate agency and his 2 nephews are playable in a later game. That's it, nothing about what he's doing in this game. He's the first character to start giving me trouble on this playthrough with his dash punch that's almost impossible to react to because it's so quick. He likes to use it a lot too. Also, anyone have any idea what he's saying when he wins?
I have good fortune.
These first 5 characters I've spoken about have never made a return in another game outside of cameos. I see why, especially since a couple of them have had very obvious replacements in Street Fighter 2, and the others don't have much to work with. But I do hope they all get a second chance someday. I've always had a soft spot for obscure fighting game characters, especially ones that disappear early in their series after a game or 2. I really wouldn't mind if for just one game they swapped out Balrog or Vega for their predecessors. The second Chinese character is Gen. Gen was a legendary assassin who has killed hundreds. He was so successful he was called the Devil of Hong Kong and is believed to be invincible. He's entering the tournament to find worthy opponents, and after all that hyping up, I beat him on my first try. That just leaves England and Birdie, a bouncer and former wrestler who turned to crime when his career ended. He's just there because he got invited. He's really tall and really strong. His jumping punch can take out a third of your health, and then there's a headbutt that's just as strong but quicker. He gave me quite a bit of trouble. Those of you who recognise Birdie from later games may wonder why he's white, but that is explained in one of those games. Then there's Eagle. He's also a bouncer and bodyguard of a noble family. He's been hired to defeat Sagat, who hired him has never been revealed. He fights using these two sticks and has a special move where he spins around with them. I found that holding forward and mashing the light punch destroys him, he just can't seem to deal with it. After winning in all 4 countries, you travel to Thailand where your first match is against Adon, Sagat's student. He's fighting to prove that he's more than just a poor man Sagat. I hate him and his Jaguar kick just ploughing through me. It's not just that though, every one of his attacks does ridiculous damage. Also I hate his theme music and he's ugly, fuck Adon. Nearly 10 minutes I spent on him, still nothing compared to Sagat himself. Sagat was getting into street fights at a young age, which is why he's always wearing the eye patch. That right eye's been fucked up since he was a kid. He got the title Emperor of Muay Thai by defeating the previous guy that title 3 years before his game's events. He's holding the tournament as an ego thing to prove he's the best fighter in the world. As for fighting Sagat, fucking hell he's a nightmare. His Tiger Shot and Tiger Knee come out fast and can take out over half the health bar. There were many times I was taken out in less than 3 seconds from just 2 hits. And as far as I'm aware, that knee goes through everything except the Hadouken, so if he does it right next to you, you've got no chance. It took me 40 minutes altogether to defeat everyone else and reach him. To defeat him alone, it took twice that. His theme is also one of the ones I hate, and having to listen to the first few seconds of that on loop for so long was driving me insane. If this was in an actual arcade, I wonder how much money I'd have wasted on Sagat alone. You know, the first time I fought Sagat back in 2010, I beat him on my second try. But an hour and 20 minutes later I did it, eventually got lucky with my special moves and brought him down. I especially love that Shoryuken that chewed through all his health in one. Sagat declares you the strongest street fighter in the world and you're treated to a quick showing of the guys you beat up. The game gives you the underwhelming title of King of the Hill and warns you that there will always be those who will come for your title. And there was Street Fighter. I know fighting games had to start somewhere and it would take time for them to become truly great, but after playing this, I'm surprised they got to Street Fighter 5. Hell, I'm surprised they made it to 2. It's a frustrating, boring game, not quite the worst fighting game I've ever played, but it's down there. I don't want to play it again.